Open your eyes. When did we become a plastic society? We got plastic bags, plastic water bottles, plastic straws, plastic cups, plastic wrap, plastic utensils, and plastic to-go containers. Plastic is a substance the earth cannot digest, and every bit of plastic that has ever been created still exists. Every day in the United States, we throw out almost 88,000 tons of plastic. Now, what happens to plastic after you use it? Well, most of it goes into landfills. A portion gets into the water course and eventually ends up in the oceans. Recycling is not a sustainable solution. It's actually called downcycling because plastic never goes away. Consumption of disposable plastics has spiraled out of control.
Plastics are treated as a product that miraculously appears from nowhere, and it goes to nowhere. It starts when the oil and the gas leave the wellhead, and it keeps on being a problem at every stage along the way. Why is it that we're seeing so much more plastics entering the environment? This is the story of plastics.
We got into recycling because we thought it was the right thing to do. Of course, it is a disposal service. At its core, it's taking stuff that people don't want anymore and trying to do something better than landfill with it. In 2013, under significant pressure from our city council, we began accepting non-bottle mixed rigid plastic. So all the plastic containers, berry containers, keg cups, plastic cold cups, from Starbucks. Procter & Gamble wants us all to believe that all their packaged goods are in, totally environmentally sound packaging. They want us all using single-use packaged products so that we're just, on the supply chain. It's totally unfair to the cities and the recyclers on the back end because then everyone says, oh, it's recyclable. It's recycle ready. You should collect it. Well, then what?
Now I know what you're thinking. Stopping plastic pollution forever? That sounds too good to be true.
He's lying!
After all, no matter how many times you clean these places up, it ends up looking like this again the next day. See, what we're told is that people who litter are responsible for plastic pollution. After all, they're the ones who didn't put their trash where it belongs, right? Well, you're not wrong. No one wants to be this person. And unfortunately, there are people out there who just don't care about the environment.
I've actually been called an environmentalist, if you can believe that.
But here's the crazy thing. Even if you do toss your plastic in a recycling bin, how do you know it's actually getting recycled? How do you know that your trash isn't ending up in another country for other people to deal with? Because the truth is, many countries are so overwhelmed by plastic waste that they're forced to send it somewhere else. And that somewhere else is Asia, and they're overwhelmed by plastic too. China, for example, has stopped accepting the world's waste. And now, places like Vietnam and Malaysia are taking similar steps, leaving the world's plastic with nowhere to go. There's still hope, and it starts by asking the right questions. What if instead of asking who we should send our waste to, we start asking who's creating all this plastic junk in the first place? That's exactly what the Break Free from Plastic movement set out to answer. They created something called a brand audit, where 9,000 volunteers from 42 countries took part in 239 cleanups and picked up over 187,000 pieces of plastic trash. After the cleanup, all the plastic waste was sorted by which company created the product. Products from Coke, Pepsi, and Nestle were the most commonly found. But wait, you might be asking, how are these guys responsible for plastic pollution? The thing is, companies invest billions in creating and marketing their products, but invest almost nothing in making sure their products don't end up in our environment. Take these unrecyclable plastic sachets, which Unilever and Procter & Gamble sell in countries like Indonesia and the Philippines. These countries aren't designed to deal with this type and this much plastic. Worst of all, these countries are being blamed for plastic pollution, while the companies who supply the trash are counting their profits. They pocket the money and we're left to clean up after their mess.
Wash to Shore is a nonprofit organization that really makes art to save the sea, and we do that by enlisting thousands of volunteers who help us clean the beaches, and we build giant sculptures out of marine debris. We've processed an estimated 17 tons of garbage off of beaches and created about 66 pieces with that. I decided to come to the ocean and move down to Bandon because my family had been here. So I used to step over the little bits of plastic, bottles or whatever. And I thought, you know what? What if I never, ever purchase another piece of material for artwork again? What if I only used what was on the beach? We don't ever color anything that we get from the beach. We never add any color to it. We don't need to add any kind of anything because you get everything you ever needed comes in to make these sculptures, because plastic comes in every color, every type, everything and anything you ever wanted can be made in plastic. Every piece of plastic that's ever been made is still on the earth. And we throw it away, there's no away. It just keeps going. So when I see people coming into a gallery and they stop and they look and they go, oh my God, I had no idea. Is my stuff getting in the ocean? You've done something. This is very hard work. I mean, I work 12, 14-hour days, 7 days a week, and it's like, I'd only do it if it worked. I wouldn't do it otherwise. And when you feel like you're making a difference, it's very compelling. It keeps you going, it's your fuel. Everybody can make a difference, and every little action does help. It's because every little action got us to where we are. So we just need to start going back. I would really like to run out of art supplies.
I paint with plastics instead of, the traditional way of making art. I'm switching on my heat gun, a tool that I use to paint with. I'm melting black strips of plastic onto another plastic to create a self-portrait. The build-ups and the technique is also fascinating because you can literally see nothing from here, but as you move backwards, the image starts to come together. And this is very interesting to me.
I grew up from one of the slum areas here in Uganda, where there is high rates of plastic waste pollution. And most times when it could rain, all our houses could get flooded because of the plastic waste that was poorly disposed of in the waterways, on the water channels, on the trenches, hence causing the flooding back into the slum areas. Reform Africa, a social enterprise that aims at transforming plastic waste bags into durable, sustainable, and waterproof bags and accessories. Sort, wash, and then we have the plastic hanged, like these ones here, that we later on fuse to make the bags. With the designs that we have, every piece of our bag is unique in its own way. We are passionate about art. Art is just complicated and complex, so we just throw in the different colors and they come out to bring the cool designs. The impact that we have, one, is to save the environment from the plastic waste pollution, and two, is to provide employment for the single mothers and also for the marginalized youths in the community, since Uganda has 80% of youths, and of which most of them are unemployed. What Reform Africa hopes for the future is an Africa free from plastic waste pollution and also free from single-use plastics.